everyone. Welcome to CreativeVerse Online. I am Kimberly McGee, and I am here to host this amazing fireside conversation. And let's start first by congratulating Elton Benjamin on a successful CreativeVerse 2024.
Thank you. Thank you.
Such an amazing time. So let's talk about CreativeVerse. Let's do a really quick recap so that people will understand why we're doing this. So CreativeVerse 2024, you brought in some really heavy hitters. We got a chance to re-engage with Chris Doe, and then you brought in Daniel Priestley. Tell us why you actually wanted these two men to come in Raleigh, North Carolina, and engage with creative people and podcasters and designers.
Okay. Well, that was our second year.
Yes.
First year we did bring Chris Doe in to pretty much talk about the creative side of what I wanted to do, right? The vision that I had. The second year, you always learn your lessons from your first one. So what I found out in my first event was that we had a lot of creativity, but not a lot of business acumen. And I thought that's one thing that really needed to be brought in front of the creative community, particularly creative community at my level, and people that were coming up under me. Because I would offer contract, and that word didn't get respected as contract, that you really need to have contracts. And to save on frustration and all that stuff and the pitfalls and all that stuff. So I really just wanted to bring Daniel in to, Chris. I asked Chris, can you do this? Can you do that? He was like, well, let's reach out. Let's see. Because all this stuff was a big swing.
Yeah.
It was a big swing. But Daniel, he jumped in. We had a conversation and it just really went real good.
Yeah.
And so he was able to come here and just enlighten people on business.
Yeah.
And it was so practical the way he taught, but it was so phenomenal and valuable. People are talking about it now and starting to really structure and build a business or organize and strategize in a way that is practical and not a pie in the sky. He didn't speak vaguely, just gave us a lot of practical stuff. So that's why we brought him in.
So you had a lot of different speakers, and you actually partnered with Red Hat, which is where you hosted it. And there was limited seating for various reasons. And then you partnered with Adobe Express, which was huge.
Yes.
Massively huge. Yeah. And I know that you're ready to take CreativeVerse to the next level. So here we are. We're at the Martin Luther King facility right here in Raleigh, North Carolina, in Chavis Heights. Why here?
Community. I've lived in and out of this community. My wife has lived in and out of this community. To just rebuild and give back. We was having a conversation with Ken and with John about, it was further along, but college, when you get out of college and they say, okay, to get this job, you have to have experience. Yeah. Well, I thought I had experience, was getting experience those 4 years that I was paying y'all all this money, but now I'm competing with everybody else, right? So I want to jump in front of college, jump in front of high school, to people here, like, live in these communities, because that's the only thing that if you start when everybody else start, then you're competing with everybody. But if you start before, then you can jump ahead and get the experience that you need. And so I look to reach out to these communities to help them build that bridge, because before then, a person like me talking to Chris Doe, a person like me talking to Daniel Priestley over in the UK that has 20 profitable business, that isn't real to somebody who grew up like me. But by me doing it, they can see that, hey, I can achieve that too. So that's why I decided to do this here.
So we're going to have a really nice, uplifting conversation as we talk about the creative world, what to expect, what's coming. So before we get into all of the accolades and all the bios, let's introduce really quickly our speakers. We've got Ashley Berry, we've got Ken Branson, and we've got John Guest.
Yeah.
All right. So really quickly about the creative world, and we get into all the bios. This is just one of these amazing moments where you're bringing CreativeVerse into a space that you wanted the opportunity for the community who didn't get a chance to come to CreativeVerse 2024, but you also wanted a moment where people could be introduced to the vision of CreativeVerse.
Right.
With that being said, in this community, before we go into the bios, and you brought in so many different experts at 2024, one of the things I thought was really important was your masterclass with Omar.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you and Omar really pressed was collaboration and working together as a whole in a community. And I thought it was really important that you guys talked about relationships. So bringing these three keynote people in, bringing in people that, as we know, representation matters, color matters, understanding the background, the diversity matters, inclusion matters. Is that where you really want CreativeVerse to go to that next level?
You mentioned the masterclass. The masterclass was named From Main Street to Mainstream. And so that's why I look to take us mainstream. My first year, you wouldn't have known it was anything minority based or anything like that. The second one, we pulled in a lot of minority crowd and an inclusion crowd and that type deal. But our ultimate goal is to get to a place where it's just mainstream. You come in because you want to learn. And I look at us being a footstool to step up on, because normally you would have to fight and fight and fight, as most of these people on this panel will tell you and begin to tell you their story. It was almost impossible for them to become professionals in their industry, going through the cookie cutter way.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking to aim, from Main Street to mainstream.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to first start out. I know ladies are first, but I'm going to first start out with someone who I've known for a very long time. I call him the Wizard. His name is Ken Branson. I've known him forever. And one of the things I love about Ken is that he is definitely a straight shooter, and he is a wealth of knowledge. But I'm just going to give you a little bit snippet of his bio. Ken Branson defines his troubled past, turning his basement startup into a multi-million-dollar empire through the power of visual storytelling. So Ken, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You are definitely a storyteller, from TikTok to Instagram to Facebook. You tell it all, and you tell it real. And I think your raw, straightforward way of delivering your storyline and your truthfulness, it really does bring a lot of us together, and it motivates us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We're going to not say the best for last, but we're going to go to the lady. Okay? All right. Okay. So we're going to deal with the lady in the house. We have Miss Ashley Berry from Durham, North Carolina. She is a graphic and web and brand designer for over 3 years of experience, elevated brand identity, small businesses, corporate and companies, branding agencies. Her desires and experiences, a strategy and mindsets ensure compelling brand identity that connects with customers. So we are super excited. First, this is my first time meeting you.
Yes.
She has a smile that will stop traffic. And just a pleasant demeanor. And so we're so excited. but I know you already beast. So we're ready for you to drop the knowledge in this place. So thank you for joining us today. And this gentleman, I'm just really excited, Mr. John Guest, my animated man. I think you're awesome. So John Guest took his passion and dreams from owning a television network and made it happen. Him and his wife, who, by the way, is named Kimberly as well, has made a media production company and a nonprofit television network for others to showcase their passion and dreams. The JHG Production and New Vision Television.
Damn.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
To this fireside talk. So let's get into some basic conversations. First, one, what is your overall goal, John, when you're talking about carrying your production company? What's your overall goal?
Well, it's not really mentor because I haven't talked to him, but my role model is Byron Allen. And so some people might know him from owning the Weather Channel, but he has a few businesses and ownerships. Yeah, he's no joke. So his model of having it's pretty much the same as mine, to give people actual platform for real content, real people, our people too as well, real representation, things that really matter. So that's what I want to do. So a lot of my clients are people that have nonprofits as well, or organizations in general. I like to cover people who do real things and really good things. That's why me and Elton do everything together. Because we people that have big plans and big ideas, for one, they need help to get them done. And two, they need the representation of it to show people like, well, can I see something? What do you have going on? Is there like a reel? Is there some photos? Is there whatever? What else is there? So giving them quality work, quality visuals, but things that impact people. Yeah, and that's the goal.
I'd like to jump in real quick. I know that one of the things that I love the fact that you have John here, because he was a true center part of Creative 2024 behind the scenes. He was capturing a lot of the footage and the really core essence of the conference. And I know it would have been hard for him to be in the forefront and behind the scenes. So seeing him here today and tapping into that vein is really exciting, because I think people can pull so much from him with his expertise. So was that your strategy in this fireside talk, leading the road into what's coming next?
It is, and it's just what I look to. What my passion is not only teach the talent, because you already have the talent. The bigger underlying story with John is John wasn't hired to do what he did for 2023. He blew me away with the documentary skills that he brought to the table. Where you had other people there to capture the event. He thought behind the scenes all the time, and how can we make this a two-part thing? How can we grow this, right? So we're working on also a documentary that just doesn't encompass the event, but years of planning. And that's just one lesson to people. Jump in when you fit in. Find your place. Don't just wait for somebody, because people are too busy to tell you what to do. You have to give them something that they don't already have. I didn't have anybody doing a documentary of it, right? But he put the idea. When I started to see his, I don't know if he knew he was doing it, but I started picking it up. And so that's just a lesson for people that, he's gotten to meet people that he probably would have never met. He's had collaborations and connections and all that stuff since CreativeVerse 1, but that's how it happens. There's no magic pill or no, It's just you got to do the work and put in the work, and the work isn't always a check. It's experience. It's exposure, because all of us can tell you that you're one hello away from a big check or opportunity. Sometimes our payment is opportunity instead of a check.
And as a storyteller, as Elton mentioned, documenting that first experience in 2023, which I had the pleasure of being pulled in as part of that team, which was wonderful to work with John. It was our first time working together. As a storyteller, what are some of the things that you could give to a new creator or someone who wants to vamp their storytelling line or just really trying to find their niche?
Like, one of my biggest things is like, make the people who didn't come jealous that they didn't come.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want to tell it in a way to make them ride an emotional roller coaster, right? To evoke certain emotions. Again, like, they won't never miss another one because of the work that we put in to make this film or this, promo video just outstanding to them when they see it.
Ashley, what about you?
Like, as far as my goal?
Yeah, well, yeah, just from a creative standpoint, when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to branding, what would you say is one of the key things that people are missing when it comes to those elements?
Being authentic, I think, is a huge one. I always tell my clients to be themselves. A lot of times when they come to me, they have imposter syndrome, or they're looking at somebody else's branding and feel like, oh, it's working for her, maybe it can work for me. That they'll learn we're in the midst of it. You can tell that they're like uncomfortable, or that's not really who they are. And I'm telling them all the time, you have to keep up with this appearance. So, if you're going in there, going in one way thinking, okay, I need to dress like this, I need to look like this, I need to have my hair like this. It has to be a constant thing, because branding is all about consistency.
Yeah.
So, I always say, just be yourself. Yourself will sell. You don't have to pretend to be anybody else. And 9 times out of 10, people are going to like you for you versus who you try to pretend to be. And people can pick that up. They can pick it up. So.
They can. And what I would like to interject, we're talking about storytelling. This guy right here, I remember the first time I went to one of Ken's storytelling seminars. And I mean, man, the guy took the room from here to here to here to here. But it was controlled, concise, and to the point. I'll never forget, and you have to ask him to tell you the story, because I can't tell you the story, but he had this shit like that. If you ever ask him to meet Ken, he'll tell you that story. But man, the road, and those things, that's how good of a storyteller he is, because that was years and years ago, but that was something that stuck out.
Wow.
And that, when people do that stuff and they do it so well, you got to keep them in your circle. But that's just one of the things that and Ashley just spoke on being consistent. She's, and her bio says she's been doing this professionally for 3 years, but I've been doing this for more 20 plus, and I've never seen anybody that's more consistent with her and with their work in the short time that she's been doing it consistently, concise, smooth, streamlined across the board.
That's good.
Yeah.
When you talk about imposter syndrome, which I think we see a lot of that across the board, mirroring, imaging. And I think it's a fine line between being inspired by something versus imposturing something. I'll use Ken as an example. I know we've been picking on you, but storytelling. One of the things I think this goes back to what Ashley said is about being authentic, being real, is that you've been very, very open about your past. Going from your prison time to creating your own resources because of that. I don't think anybody could come in and mirror that with red glasses and say, this.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute now. I can't find the storyline. But when we're talking about the imposter syndrome, Ashley, you hit it, because we do kind of see that some people may take the easy road on social media. So let's talk about the current state of the visual creative industry and the imposter syndrome, because we do see that, and I feel like that's a hard thing to keep up with things. So who wants to jump in?
Media.
Yes. Let's go, Ashley.
Yeah, social media definitely plays a part in that. But I think part of us just gets inspired by somebody. You might see somebody's work, or you might see their lifestyle, and you're like, that's where I want to be at. But then it's like it's crossing a line when it gets to the point where it's like you're imitating them, how they talk, how they dress, how they do their designs, or whatever the case may be. So I feel like it can be hard. I feel like there's one time that I went through that. I think not necessarily with design, but I felt like my work had to look a certain way. But now I just pretty much do what I feel looks the best. I can be very diverse with my work. It's not just one way. I mean, I am big on clean lines and but other than that, I can be very diverse when it comes to that. But I do feel like it can be tough, especially when you're starting out and you're not necessarily getting the clientele that you want, or you feel like, oh, they're doing this that way, maybe I need to do that so I can get that clientele or make that type of money. But people don't realize, like, behind the scenes, how much it takes and time and effort that you got to put in to get that type of clientele. Like, it didn't happen overnight. Like, I didn't get the clientele that I have now until like maybe 2-3 years in, you know what I mean? So it's like you definitely have to be consistent, put in the work and learn, you know, every day you have to be learning.
And also, as you said, the current state of where we are now in the creative industry, there is a heavier level of imposter syndrome when you feel like everybody knows AI more than you, right? And so it's the imposter syndrome of being like, okay, do I belong in the room? Do I belong in the conversation? Am I gonna get left behind? And so I think where we're at now is a lot of people are stuck.
That's good.
A lot of people are stuck. A lot of people are fearful, and they won't get unstuck because of that imposter syndrome. I think about a couple of us here can remember before the internet, business before the internet, right? And then you had people that say, oh, I'm not getting on the internet, I'm not doing this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, time don't wait for nobody.
It doesn't.
Right? And so you become to see, okay, well, now you done business on the internet, blah, blah, blah. Well, now we're at the turn. And we're also, I was explaining this to John, that you get to a point where we get to Rome and we say, oh, Rome was there, how did Rome fall? Right? And so with that being geographical, let's look at it as like business, right? You have business and you have dirt business and you have storefront business, you have brick and mortar business. Well, now it's digital. It's digital. It's AI, it's digital. And you can sit around and say, okay, I'm not doing that, no chat GPT, blah, blah, I'm not doing all that.
All right.
But history has proven that you will get left behind and you'll be locked in doing business with only dirt people.
That's right.
Right? But if you're up here and you get in front of it, it's going to be too late to try to get on 2030. And that sounds like a long time away, but that's 5 years. It's not 4. Right? The year's almost over. Business-wise, it's already over. But you have to be able to take that initiative to say, I want to learn more. Get unstuck out of the imposter syndrome, because nobody's going to take care of you when times get hard and times get bad. And so if you wait until that time, what you know now and you leaps above these people down here, you're going to be on the same level and competing with them if you don't take the step now to learn some new technology. And so now don't feel like an imposter. You're supposed to be in the room. I don't know. I had imposter syndrome one time, and I was going to get somebody to market and do CreativeVerse. Well, guess what? When I got in a big fancy boardroom and began to be on the, look at them on the board, and then I got up and I was on the dry erase board, I figured I knew more than them. More than them, how to explain it more than them, how to get it done quicker than them. And you just gotta have a good team, or you gotta have a good team, money, or time. Most of us don't have the time because we're busy trying to promote us. So we're gonna have to build us a team or have some money. A team that understands what the goal is.
Two things I want to pull from. One, you said fear, and you're talking about authenticity. There was those two things that actually propelled me to the next level. The fear part, fear and authenticity, underdog story. I wanted to say fear and the underdog story.
Oh.
All right. These are the two things that really took me to the next level. Fear was I was actually fearful that I would be exposed. Right. So I was already exposed. Anytime I try to get a job, they gonna run my background. Right. So being out here in the video world, it was like I don't want nobody to just I don't know, just unveil Ken stole money from ATM. So I'm gonna be the first one to tell it, and I'm gonna tell it better than anybody else could tell it. Right. So fear drove me to be authentic. Okay. Then the second one is an underdog story. Right. I love a good underdog story. And we were talking earlier about how I had the meeting with at the school today, right? I love a good underdog story, and I love to be able to find a creative way to circumvent something, to be able to be successful as a result of it, right? Of anything that I put my mind to. So I don't know why I drew that from what they said, but we're talking about the current state, and we're talking about authenticity and all that other good jazz. But that's literally what took me to the next level. Those two things.
Yeah.
I like to throw this at John because you had talked about the AI and being in the next level. One of the great things that I got a chance to do at this year's conference, which I really appreciated, and John, you were in the room as well, was Daniel and Chris got a chance to do the CEO roundtable session. That's what I call it.
Sure.
And he was really combining the worlds, what I would consider old school, one-on-one, that kind of things. And I got a chance to talk to Daniel too about, I made some side comments. For those who didn't know, Elton gave me the opportunity to produce CreativeVerse podcast, which I really appreciated. And I got a chance to talk to Daniel, and I was just telling him, that I still do cold call. Like that's still one of my ways of doing it. I came from sales back in, that's how I made my money to pay for college. And he said, that's a bridge. Now let me show you how to take AI with that.
Yeah.
And so him and I got into this really great little mini conversation. And I'm thinking, jackpot. Like, who gets this? And people pay him thousands of millions of dollars to have this one-on-one. And he's like the cameras was off, and he said, listen, let me give you something. And he gave it to me like that. He said, don't stop the cold calling, because that's your one-on-one. That's the relationship building. But then let me show you how to take the AI and what you're doing and combine the two worlds. So John, with that being said, you've got many talents, but one of the things I know is your animation. And I really see that animation is like, we're on the thrust. Like, we've seen animation in so many different formats, but now we're really seeing animation in every aspect of our lives. Companies are using animation to deliver their messages, schools, things. Where do you see that really starting to plateau and moving into this whole AI concept, storytelling, and all of that? Where do you see that going?
I don't think it'll ever plateau.
You don't ever think it's going to plateau?
The reason why is just technology in general, right?
Okay.
And then the world and things going on and things happening. So I use The Simpsons for an example of that, right? How long has that show been on, right?
Like
The Simpsons,
It's like 30, I think.
It's been on 45 years.
Wow.
So, right.
Been on since the,
And the reason why is because all they really have to do is pull from the world to make an episode. And just put it in an episode. That's all they got to do.
Okay.
Or predict something. And put it out. They do. That's why they're on forever, because I mean they just take stories from the crimes and stuff, right? And just do that.
30 years.
AI, and that's just TV. So imagine what AI will be able to do. As of right now, today, 2 years into AI video, some people might remember the Will Smith eating spaghetti video, right? Today, what this looks like now, these cameras and this AI can look exactly like that today. It's 2 years later. You can type in something and give it a prompt of what you want to do, and it'll give you something today that looks like, wow, Under Armour just made a commercial with strictly AI, and it just came out. And so with animation especially though, so the best thing about it is how much time it can cut off your work, honestly.
Yeah.
And then what you're capable of doing and the other things you're able to do, and somewhat more clients you can take on because of the streamlining. So with animation specifically, one of the time consuming parts is the character development in the first place, right? So I have a couple TV shows that are coming out later that I was able to put out promos for in, probably 2-3 days from conception, just because I could go to AI and get the conception right. I haven't animated anything yet, but all I got to do is take those images from the AI and do what traditional animation does.
Right.
That cut off 7 months probably of production. So if you got a little bit of money, and you have the software and you're creative enough, you can do everything by yourself on a laptop. Make a cartoon, a whole series of stuff by yourself. So there's no real limit to it, and we shouldn't be afraid of it. I don't think it's going to replace a lot of jobs at all. I think it's going to create a whole lot more.
Right.
And you just have to know how to do what it is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You can't take away the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't. You got to learn the fundamentals and know. You just got to know. In animation, you can teach. You can say, okay, do this walk cycle, but you got to know, show anticipation, show impact, all of those principles that you got to know. And it's funny that we were talking. He was saying it saved him 7 months. I remember I did a animation project. It's called Down South, and me and Omar, we got all the way to the pitch room, MTV. The only reason when we didn't make it is because we was just right on the cusp of live TV, reality TV, and it was easier to pay somebody with stardom
Yeah.
than an animation budget. Right.
At that time.
Right, at the time. So it did, and the time, and I'm speaking to the time that AI can save you. I spent grueling hours of doing this, studio requests and this, requesting that for us to get in front of these people at MTV. It was just grueling hours. And if we would have had, AI, it would have been just like that,
Yeah, I think that was one of the questions I had, which we segue. You guys did such a beautiful job covering it, was the impact of AI on our work and our future industries. One thing I can tell you guys, if I could share, is that so I have a management firm, and one of the things we do is we manage conferences and events and so on and so forth. And I was just sharing with Elton, I used my first chat GPT with one of my and I was super excited.
I'm excited for you.
Excited. And the first conference, I remember I was worried about the integrity of AI. When Chris and we all had that conversation with Brian over at State with the first conference.
Right.
And the integrity of it from an artistic standpoint and what that looks like. And I know that's still a gray area. I'm still working on that with AI and the integrity of AI. But this year started to become full circle for me, and it's being in the room. So I think one of the things that I want to just tap into, why is important for people to come to something like CreativeVerse, because one of the things that it opened the door for me, which I had a basic understanding of what AI was, but I didn't have a full creative understanding of how I could use it for my business. It came full circle for me this year, because I have a nurse conference that I am managing, and now we have a chat box on the website.
Okay.
So now it goes right up, and I was like, yes. So now I don't have to get a ton of phone calls. Everything is like streamlined. And now we're even thinking forwardly, like, okay, what do we want the chat box to answer? Like, what do we want to be able to provide our community? What do we want to provide our participants? Now we're providing those things, but all of that came out of conversation. So, Elton, when we're talking about the creative mindset and you're bringing in these experts, moving forward, because this conversation really is about bringing other people in who could not come this year. And you had some experts, you've got them here. What do you want people to really understand why it's important to be at something like CreativeVerse?
It's important because of what you're seeing right now. You never, and there's a lot of stories that John has that you're not going to learn unless you're in the room. And there may be 5 Johns in the room. That sounds crazy. 5 Johns. But anyway, there may be 5 of him. There may be 3 of Ken.
Right.
There may be 4 of Ashley, right? But you never know that until you get in that room. And again, going back to the imposter syndrome, people don't feel like they can get in those rooms or feel like they belong in those rooms. Because they'll feel like you know, I have to be the member of a chamber, or I need to be looked at this way. I need to dress this way. I need to do this, do that, and do that. Well, some of those people, creative people, are never going to dress like the way you want them to dress. Most of them are introverts. So we just need to they need to know how to turn the introvert button on and off. When it's time to do business, hey, you got to turn that button off and get in there and get in the mix, right? Yeah. Even if you're not in there mingling, you can mingle with one person that will change your entire life, right?
Yeah.
So it's important that we get around and hear people's stories, because that's the only way we learn people. Well, I know that you're a videographer. I know that you're a graphic designer. I know you do this, content creator. What's your story, right? That's the only time we really get to know people. We know what their story is, because you and Ashley can be in the same field. But if Ashley told you she started a campaign with battered women or something like that, and you was a battered woman and you came out of it, then that whole relationship is formed then for life, right? And so CreativeVerse becomes more than just another conference to come get information in. It comes to be, you come to be developed, more developed business-wise, but more developed in real world. You know, people say life is, okay, you playing checkers, I'm playing chess. Okay, you playing chess, but I'm playing real life. Right? Sometimes it rains when you outside playing chess. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. How you tell somebody how to deal with that?
Yeah.
You know, I have these people here, here because they're spectacular now. Yeah. But I know a couple of stories where each one of them weren't spectacular. Yeah. Right? and like I was having a conversation with Ken, is sometimes you have to crawl back.
That's good.
Sometimes you have to crawl back, and in this entrepreneur world and in this industry, a lot of times because creatives aren't more business acclimated, they frustrate themselves. I got a colleague now that keeps everything to himself and he won't share it with people and becomes a gatekeeper, but he's always frustrated in business. He's always frustrated, but it's a thing of learning. I want to be able to teach these things, how to cope, how to deal with the day-to-day, right? We can't just be told, okay, get the money, get the bag. Okay, well, there's a life after that. Like Ashley said, well, you got to be authentic, because you see somebody else's life and you think that's your lifestyle. You don't know how much money they paid to show up at their photo shoot. You don't know what they look like after they out for their brochure, right? They may be having 6 kids and trying to juggle all of this stuff. But just CreativeVerse is for people to be authentic, to learn, to develop. And I know I went on kind of long, but it's important that I say all of these things so there's no vague area. Right. That's one of my pet peeves of, don't give me anything vague. Don't tell me go invest. Invest in what?
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about investment. Actually, when we're talking about developing a brand, developing a particular look, developing a company, what does that look like if a young creative comes in, and I'm not giving shade to the young people, but there is a sense
Feel it.
there is a sense of stick to itness when it comes to entrepreneur. What can you share with us about when it comes to developing? Because you've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
So you're really young in the game, but you've been consistent, like Elton says. So give us some of the tips that has been helping you as your trajectory has been moving forward.
I would say first, you have to mentally be prepared for entrepreneurship. When I first started, I think I had a whole different idea of what it would be like until I actually got into it, because I think everybody makes it look so like glamorous and just exciting, not realizing that it's not like that at all. I mean, I love what I do. I like connecting with people. I like seeing people's reactions that happen, their brand come to life. But it's tough. It's really hard. I think one of the things that has helped me is to just not just be consistent, but also take breaks. I think that's the biggest one, because you can get burnt out really fast. Also outsource if you can. If you have the funds, when you do get it, outsource. Oh my gosh.
You go so far.
Yes, because being a solo entrepreneur is not it. It is not it. Get a team, pay people to do it. I'm that person. So if one of my team members come to me like, Ashley, we need such and such for their photo shoot. All right, how much is it? All right, get somebody else to do it, because I'm not doing it. Right. And so I feel like that was one of the biggest things, was establishing a team, a reliable team that was skillful, reliable, and, was able to do what they needed to do. Also, just knowing everything that comes with entrepreneur. I didn't have anybody to tell me about entrepreneurship, like the ups and the downs, like how you can make 10K in 1 month and then you can make 1,000 the next month. How to budget. Real. Don't mix your personal with your business, because you might have to do a refund. Like, it's all of those things. How to pay your taxes. Like, it's a lot that comes with it. Saving, putting aside things. Yeah, and then you see how much you make, and then you're like, where did it go?
Right.
Where is it? So it's
while keeping your creativity going. Your client, I think, is really essential.
And staying motivated. I think that's the biggest one too.
Staying motivated.
Creating is draining enough.
Yes, it is.
There's nothing like having a retainer.
Yeah.
You got to produce for every month.
Yes.
You got the biggest creative block.
Beating that deadline.
Talk about that, because how do we adapt to the changes as entrepreneurs and continue to thrive and continue to stay creative, keeping the storytelling going, keeping the creative brands going, being on top of your game, staying ahead of the curve? How do we do that?
So I would say this: find the way to cope and deal with it, is to have yourself an out.
Yeah, that's sure.
Have yourself an out. Have yourself a day that you take off every week, that you do something just for you. Mine is, I won't tell everybody what day it is. But I have a day where I'll just go walk the park or go to the movies, or something like that. I love movies, I love comedy, so I put a full day of doing that for myself. There's no balance. People always look for balance, but the real balance is when you have, say you have 50% of something, you have family, then you have work, and then you have you time. Well, whatever those at 50% of family time, I put 100% in that 50% of time. Me time, when this is my day to be off, you're gonna be so mad at me because I'm
Yeah,
not
don't
texting you
call
back.
me,
I'm not calling you back.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So the balance is for me to put 100% in the time that I have and choose to put in those other things. So that's how you cope.
Ashley?
I was about to say definitely take some time off. Well, Mondays is Mondays. I'm gonna take Mondays. I'm watching anything on Netflix, from series to movies, eating junk food. I'm not doing nothing. So don't call me. My phone is on D&D. Do not disturb.
I say how to adapt. I now know it to be market research, but before, when I was doing sports action photography, I would just go around and ask my clients what would they like to see, and then I would produce whatever it is they want to see. I just believe that we all are problem solvers,
Yeah.
and my clients pay me top dollars to solve their problems. I just ask them, hey, what it is you need to be done, what need to be done, what would you like to see next, and we just make it happen in exchange for dollars.
Love that.
I kind of just do it as it comes, I guess you could say. So when I don't have clients per se, I might not be chilling as much, but I'll create things for myself, which ultimately becomes promotions for myself or commercials for my business.
See, that's why I try not to do.
So but I mean, I can't since that I'm really a creator and a real artist. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm not burning myself out making stuff I really want to do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to burn myself out so I can just do the stuff I want to do eventually and not ever have to do that stuff again. Yeah.
And all of us love what we do, and everybody love what they do, and they do it off the clock because they love to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'll create something for myself in a minute.
Yeah.
But if I have to create something for myself and it has to go to somebody, it takes forever.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the things that I do, I love to dance. If you don't know this, Ashley, I salsa dance and I love to dance. But one of the things that gets me creative is billboards. So I love driving around and I love to watch billboards. I would say the best billboards is 95 South.
Really?
Oh, that
I
makes
haven't
sense.
really seen any billboards like
Makes
that.
sense.
95 South.
They got new LED ones and stuff.
Oh, they fancy.
You can go down. I love 95 North and 95 South. So I'm going 95 North. I'm going to New York to go dance. I go 95 South. I'm going to visit somebody. But I love going like up to like Asheville and places like that. And I love billboards.
Oh, I love Asheville.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
So
Yeah.
I just love to watch billboards. And there's been times when I've actually pulled over and clicked and screenshot a billboard because I get like this, something comes in my head when I see a billboard that takes me off to another level. So that's one of the things that piques my interest. Is
One of mine is gonna sound crazy. One of mine is going through every streaming platform, and looking at the thumbnails,
See how they look.
movies, and how they're designed. I never get to watch a movie. I'm like, yo, that is hot. I'm gonna try that.
music is another one too.
Yeah, I like music too. I was gonna say I like watching drawing videos. As much as I should,
Yeah.
but I love watching
Yeah.
them.
I love cooking shows. I think that's relaxing for me. But yeah, I love music. I like that. I like the whole movie. Yeah.
You got a cooking show.
Yeah.
So do.
Oh
Dad, buy a cooking show.
Because Kenny will get in his car and he'd be like, hey, let me tell you something. And it's like it grabs your attention. So yeah, I love those conversations. So let's talk real quick as we start to wrap up about predictions and trends and what's coming for the future for yourself, for the industry. Where do you see creative unfolding?
Yeah, I want to jump in real quick to say transferable skills is really at the top of my list right now. I don't know what the future of media production, what we do, I don't know what it's going to be, right? But I will tell you this, we learn some real hard skills doing what we do every day outside of the digital media portion of it that can transfer in any kind of way. So I'm on a little soapbox right now on my social media page, and I'm talking about transferable skills for a reason, because I'm going through it personally, and also I do believe that it's gonna help somebody else out in the future too. So it don't matter where we go, what happened in the world, but we need to definitely hone in on these transferable skills and find out how they can translate.
That's really good.
That's great.
And can I tap in? Something that happened at CreativeVerse was the very thing with Brian
Mm-hmm.
when they talked about him doing AI and that whole transferable,
Right.
his skills. So that's Ken is right in
there.
line of fire there when
Yeah.
they. I wish we had recorded that. I don't know if that was
We did.
recorded. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I think where things are going in the future is it's kind of tough to say.
Yeah.
But I kind of started on it a while ago. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. So learn what you're scared and afraid to death to learn. Because there's gonna come a time in the next 2 years that it's gonna start slipping away from you. It's right in your grasp, and you can like Daniel said this year. He's like, it's a better time now to become an entrepreneur than any other time ever.
Yes.
Because you have so many tools. And let me say this. We've been taught so long that you got to grind and work hard and grind and work hard, grind and work hard. Yeah, you have to do that, but also do it smart.
Yeah.
Do it smart. Don't make people make you think that, okay, AI, Chat GPT, all these things are cheating. Because that's the same thing as people done research.
Absolutely.
Right?
I felt that way at first. I wasn't sure about AI, but
Right.
now
And
it's like
everybody
it's
does.
everywhere.
Right. But
So you either join
It
on
kills
the
the time,
team,
like you
yeah.
said, research.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
and that's all that it is. All you're doing
Yeah.
is doing a Google search,
Yeah.
but it's giving it back to you more organized.
Yeah. For sure.
Right? So we don't have to grind and struggle. It's quicker, it's smarter.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think if we don't let ourselves get in the way,
Yeah.
because 9 times out of 10, failure exists in what we think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? And if we just depend and work on what we can do right now, then that future is going to take care of itself. Because we're going to get to those points in the future, and then we'll be equipped enough to handle the future. But if we're just worried about it, and scared to prepare ourselves, then you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, because AI isn't going anywhere.
Right.
So, no, I was saying like AI isn't going anywhere. So it's better to kind of jump on the bandwagon now and learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was afraid of it a little bit at first because I wasn't sure how it was going to affect, me being a graphic designer now. Go online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people they still like to have conversations. But I do feel like it does help in a sense with just like automation, streamlining, coming up with concepts and just helping you become more organized, giving you different ideas. I also feel like in the future it'll help us have more opportunities too. So I'm here for it.
I think it's something that everyone has said, particularly John and Elton, is I'm a graphic designer. I think like even when it comes to Canva, people don't know how to operate Canva.
No, they don't.
And secondly, nobody has time. If I'm running a brick and mortar restaurant, if I'm running a boutique, I don't have time for that. I've got 15 staff where I'm trying to build. So to me, if I have a graphic designer that is creative and you can use Chat GPT, it makes you look and it makes me look good. It's a win-win to me. I'm telling you, it all came full circle this year for me. So I think that's why the whole coming to CreativeVerse and looking forward to next year, what that's going to bring. So I think it's going to be productive for everybody. John, same question, but I also wanted to add for you is, what is your next big event for people who will be able to participate in, and what makes it special?
Well, I'm a visionary, so looking ahead of what CreativeVerse can be is a lot. And I'm pretty sure that it will. we're talking, I have so many things in my head that it could be, but ultimately it's a renaissance for creatives to be able to be business owners. I think that's ultimately what the goal is and what it will be and continue to be. And people will see it for that and flock to it, especially Friday. Especially Friday. But my next big event, me and my wife's big event actually, it's next year, it's next July. And we're having the Show Up King and Queen retreat.
Okay.
And what that is my wife has a talk show called The Woman I Am Today. And so it's presented by The Woman I Am Today. And what we're doing is getting like-minded people together. For mainly, you're coming to enjoy yourself at the beach, chill out, have a good time. But we're also going to integrate business, some personal development in there as well, and come get some media done, get some pictures and video as well for your business or just leisure because you're there. Hope it becomes something that feels more like a family reunion every year.
Love that.
For people to just come enjoy themselves, but get actual value out of a trip. I like that. And if they have a business, bring your stuff. Bring your merchandise. Sell it to people that are there, get your commercial done with your business and all that kind of stuff there. So that's what we're doing next year. We'll be putting more things about that out this year. So, but that's our next big endeavor, and it's something we're going to do every year.
Can I share a story with you, Nicole?
Yeah.
So Elton mentioned chess and checkers. So I was in New York, and I was walking on 6th Avenue up by 29th. And one thing I love about Manhattan is around Bryant Park. I love to walk. And there's a park right outside of Bryant Park. It's called Nadelsi Park. And it's just this really cool park. It's got rocks around, but it has chess and checkers. Guys play outside. These two people, they were playing chess. Started to rain. Everybody scatters. I'm watching these two cats. They are in the thrust of this amazing chess game. Everybody scatters. I'm watching these two cats. They're not moving. They're not moving.
Did you get video?
No.
Yeah.
I was one of them that was learning. But I was standing under a little underpass, and I'm watching these guys. And I mean, it's coming down. It was little scattered showers. And they are not budging. Cars are honking at each other. Rain is coming down. People are running past them. They are focused on that game. And I went back to the hotel and I was telling my best friend, I said, I saw an amazing moment. And no matter what comes down, no matter what happens around you, no matter what comes in front of you or behind you, just play your game.
Yes, sir.
There you go. I like that right now.
That is it.
So thank you guys for coming tonight for this day actually, coming and being part of CreativeVerse Online. This has been an amazing talk. We really appreciate you.
Thank
John,
you. Thank you.
Ashley, Elton, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kim. We're gonna be doing I heard noise in the background. That's the kids.
Yeah.
Community center.
This is why we're having a community center. We're
Right.
reach out to the community.
So I would just like to say thank you, John, thank you, Ken, thank you, Ashley, thank you, everybody, thank you, Kim. This has been phenomenal. This is one of the things that I really, really wanted to do in moving towards the next year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be doing. I didn't do my whole bio deal because I don't. We're good. But in the daytime, I run Jablab Media, which will be how I pay my bills and support my family. And this whole movement will be called Creative Ants. And like-minded, everybody that's attached to this community, we work together like ants. And we build and we build and we build and we learn and we learn and we adjust to becoming better. So with all that, I hope to see you all at CreativeVerse. This will be the one of many talks that we'll have.
Nice.
CreativeVerse 2025.
2025.
What are we to expect?
He's really letting the cat out of the bag.
Let's go.
It's gonna be huge.
Okay.
I
It's
believe
gonna be huge.
I
It's
believe.
gonna be huge.
Yeah.
That's all we can tell you.
Yeah.
It's
So
on the racks.
right.
Well, but they're gonna get a little bit of snippets of this, which is gonna lead into.
Oh yeah,
2025.
yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be so many more audiences
Mhm.
than just visual artists and business people, business leaders. So we're looking at authors, leaders, music, everybody that has a creative mind that can learn, not just from visual, but from business.
Nice.
Right?
Well, thank you all so much. It's a wrap. We appreciate your time. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you at CreativeVerse 2025.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Woo.
Yeah, it was good.